Okay, good evening and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Sahuarita Unified School District Governing Board. At this time, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving on to the roll call, Ms. Palacios.
Governing Board President Denise Reese.
Here.
Governing Board Clerk Dr. John Sparks, absent. Governing Board Member Sherry Lowe.
Present.
Governing Board Member Kevin Opalka. Governing Board Member Nicole Warner, absent. District Administration Superintendent Dr. Manuel Valenzuela.
Present.
Assistant Superintendent Scott Downs.
Present.
Assistant Superintendent Brett Bonner.
Here.
Chief Financial Officer Lisette Huey, absent.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to the approval of the agenda, Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. You have a slew of public gatherings of the board to approve minutes from this evening. First, we have minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting of the board from May 11th and May 25th, 2022. Other events include the 8th grade promotion ceremonies on...
This is actually for the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I ahead of myself?
You are.
Thank you. That one's easier. I'd recommend approval of the agenda as revised. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now, moving on to the approval of the minutes. Dr. Valenzuela.
Now we're on the right page for me. We're talking about the approval of the minutes, as I referenced, of which there are multiple items, including the May 11 and May 25th, 2022 regular meeting of the governing board. Also, the 8th grade promotion ceremonies, which took place on May the 17th. The commencement exercises of Sahuarita High School on May 18th, and the commencement exercises of Walden Grove High School, which took place on May 19th, 2022. And after your review and consideration, I would recommend approval of all of them.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. No ratification of vouchers this evening. Dr. Valenzuela, superintendent reports.
Well, other than, as I've mentioned, I've had the opportunity to visit the summer programs on both campuses at Anza Trail and at Sahuarita High School, and I'm pleased to report that they are operating at full capacity rather smoothly, in addition to the nutrition and lunch programs that are taking place. So the schoolhouses are pretty busy for the summertime, and so that's something we welcome. The schools are a hub of our community, and we are grateful for the opportunity to continue serving at levels beyond what we've historically done during the summertime. So things are busy there. The only other thing I was going to mention is, and I know he's not here, but Dr. Sparks, as you notice, is not here this evening, and I've served with Dr. Sparks for, going on 8 years, and I think for certain I can count on one hand the number of meetings that he's missed. And it just reminds me just the importance and the noble service of governing board members, all of you. I often say governing board service is one of the last most pure examples of pure public service. It's representation of the community. It's also unpaid. So I thank you. Actually, Dr. Sparks this evening is representing the board. As a member of the State School Boards Association leadership group. So he's at an institute. He's also at another conference related to his role as a medical provider. So I often I kid around with him sort of that he doesn't sleep very much, but seriously, I don't think he does. So thank you to him and to all of you. And with that, I will conclude my report for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Valenzuela. Moving on to governing board reports. Ms. Lowell.
The report, just hoping and wishing everybody a safe and healthy summer.
Perfect. Mr. Opaka?
Just wanted to highlight the articles in the paper that came out today with the valedictorians at both SHS and Walden Grove. Great little write-up. If you haven't seen it, check out our local paper. Nice little article about them and highlighting some of our talent that are going on to do greater things and bigger, more adventures. So yeah, pretty cool thing. So
Perfect. Okay, thank you. And I do not have a report this evening other than again to wish everyone a happy and healthy summer. So recognition, we don't have any tonight. Ms. Palacios, is there any call to the public that's been turned in? Okay, so we'll move on to making sure. Okay, new business, the public online auction items. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Once again, we have a list of more outdated items that have exhausted their useful life, and we'd like to put them on the auction block to capture residual value as allowed by state administrative rule. So I would recommend your approval of the presented public online auction items.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
so moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The revised governing board meeting schedule, Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. And first of all, just Mr. Opalka just reminded me as he was commenting about the newspaper, I too read the story about those two young people, the valedictorians of the respective schools. And I was just like amazed by the academic accomplishments of this young man and this young lady. I think both well over 4 point. I think Milo's was something like a 4.6. He's also a very accomplished athlete in baseball. Back in the dark ages, when I graduated from high school, I was fortunate enough to graduate as the class valedictorian at Flowing Hills High School back in the day. And yet, with my grade point average, I don't think I would have cracked the top 20 of this group. So our kids are amazing. And with that, I will move on to the item about the board schedule. This is, I know we just changed the board schedule recently, and this is really a minor adjustment. Really, what it pertains is two things. One is the board meeting in July, although there is only one, is really important because there's lots of statutorily required timelines that must be met. And so in order to make sure that A, we're in compliance with that, and B, that we're maximizing the availability of our board members during the summertime, I recommend that we change the schedule to reflect a change in the July meeting from the previously posted July 13th, 2022 date to the recommended date of July 7th, 2022. Again, here, same location, same time, same place. So that is, with that change, I recommend the revision of the governing board meeting schedule for 2022 as shared.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing,
Yeah, just appreciate the flexibility.
Yeah.
I know all of us have busy schedules and sometimes work and life get in the way. So
yeah. So yes, very much appreciate the flexibility. So, any other? Okay, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay. The new business personnel appointment of the Director of Academic Pathways, Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board and public. You know, before I talk about this position, I just got to say how grateful I am for the board's support and really for the community support in how we've continued to grow and evolve as an organization. This is a position that when I started my first year as superintendent, which was 12 years ago, did not exist. And yet, when I look at the progress we've made in the integration of technology, the deployment of technology to deliver 21st century education, I know our information technology director sitting right over there, Mr. Villa, and we've done things like develop alternative education programs. We've done things like develop fully online opportunities for students to get ahead, to accelerate their learning, to graduate early if they so choose, or to expand the scope of their academic programs. Also to provide students with more technologically oriented access, to even younger students, to things like an online email account. Well, managing all of that is a huge endeavor. And then you throw on top of that this catalyst that emerged upon us with the pandemic, where I say one of the silver linings was our urgency and the actions to innovate and create our first fully online academic program option in our district. It's now a fully authorized, state-sanctioned school. It meets a need for a segment of our population, of our community. But when you listen to all of that, it's a lot of work and it requires leadership. I'm grateful for the last, I guess, couple years since SDPA. Mrs. Nelson has been at the helm of those initiatives. She has, as you know, submitted her resignation. So it was a high priority to make sure that we did our due diligence, that we approached it methodically, comprehensively, as we always do these kind of personnel actions. We know that people are our greatest investment and leadership matters. And I know that my colleagues, Mr. Downs, Mr. Bonner, and Mrs. Huey, who's not here this evening, took it with great seriousness. It was wide-scale search, screen, interview, case study, reference checks, big committee, and then the individual was recommended to me so that we triangulate and look at it from multiple angles. And after I met with Mrs. Flores, I too was convinced that the recommendation is strong, solid, and that the future of these initiatives are in good hands. So Mrs. Liz Flores is a veteran public school educator with 23 years of experience. She began her professional career as an elementary school teacher in the Flowing Wells Unified School District. And she arrived in Sahuarita and began working in SUSD way back in 2008. And she's been here ever since. During that time, she's been a member of the faculty at On the Trail K-8 school, I just thought of this, Liz. She's been at On the Trail almost from the beginning. And as we know, that school is now like 14 years old. So Liz has been an integral member of that faculty and assumed many leadership roles. She's taught both elementary and middle school grades at On the Trail. Liz has also served at a district level in support of new teachers as a professional development facilitator in many workshops. But one of our pillars, one of our foundations in that staff development program is the comprehensive new teacher induction program. And she's been one of the lead facilitators. In addition, Liz has also served as a cognitive coach and mentor in support of successful professional practice among our staff, all of our staff, but again, with special emphasis on the new people who we're bringing on board to the organization. She's also served as a member of our superintendent teacher advisory forum, and I was looking at her profile. She's done that for many years. Liz is a well-respected, highly professional, highly competent, student-centered educator. She earned a bachelor's degree in education from the University of Arizona and has a Master of Education degree in special education from Northern Arizona University. Her family's here. She's rooted here. She's vested in our community, and it's my pleasure and honor to recommend Liz Flores as the new Director of Academic Pathways effective July 1st, 2022.
All right, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just have to say that Mrs. Flores was one of my son's favorite teachers, and in a way it's bittersweet because I know all of the gifts that she has won't be in the classroom. However, it will be in the classroom and it's moving to a different area, and I just can't think of anybody better, and I'm so very proud. And Dr. Valenzuela, you forgot to mention she has 2 high schoolers. So not only has she taught elementary and middle school, she's also experienced the high school with her own kids, and she's bringing all that experience to a well-deserved area, and I know she's going to take it to new heights. So I'm very, very proud of you, Liz.
All right, any others? Okay. Seeing no other discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Congratulations.
Liz, if you'd like to come up and say a few words.
That's my job.
Thank you, President Reese, governing board members, of course, my husband and children, which is what also makes me cry. I'm grateful for this recommendation tonight. I know Dr. Valenzuela just shared this with you, but I began my teaching career in the Floyd Wells Unified School District. And after 9 years, we moved out to the Sahuarita community, settled here, and I began teaching here in the Sahuarita district. And it's truly become our home. I have been beyond blessed by numerous people that have been a part of not only just working with them, but being mentors and leaders and encouragers in my career. They opened many doors to many opportunities that I would have never otherwise had without being in this district. I'm excited to start my 24th year. It's kind of crazy to use that number, but going into year 24 as the Director of Academic Pathways, I'm looking forward to supporting this program. We know SDPA, the alternative school, among many other things. And I think it's important that we continue to offer relevant, diverse, and rigorous academic options to our students, not only in this community, but the surrounding community. And so I thank you all.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. President Reese, members of the board and public, you have before you, as always, a fairly lengthy consent agenda, which again are routine items that may be considered in one motion. And at this time, I do recommend approval of the consent agenda in its entirety.
Okay. We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, this evening we do have an executive session. We do need to have a motion to move into executive session.
Ms. Reese, before we move on to that, I think we need to establish the next board meeting.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I knew I was missing something. Okay. Yes, we will establish the next board meeting, which will be held here, June 22nd, 2022, here in this building, this pod. So that'll be the next board meeting. Now we do need a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. This one requires a roll call vote. Ms. Lowell.
Present. Aye. We screwed it.
Mr. Opaka.
Aye.
Ms. Reese, aye. So that concludes the regular portion of this meeting. We will recess in order for the public to be able to clear and then begin to consider the executive session.